Morning, friends. Bill here. Hope you're having a good week. We're having a good one here. Excited about this week for a couple reasons. One, this weekend is Music City Grand Prix, and there's 25 evangelists going to be in Nashville this weekend, Thursday night, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday preaching. It's pretty phenomenal when you have that many evangelists together from different places. Some guys have been preaching a long time, like might have heard me say. Scott Roney, gosh, 30 years. Mark Yoho, about 20. Frank Rollberg, 14. Other guys, some guys new. You're starting to see a lot of people come out, a lot of people get engaged in gospel preaching from coast to coast, really from Oregon or Mason Goodnight and those guys are in Roseburg to Raleigh and Atlanta and Houston and Green Bay with Heath and Dan, Chicago, young man Jeremy and his friends from Wheaton College are up there preaching in the city. It's pretty phenomenal what's going on across the country. And so this weekend is kind of just, I guess the Lord finally said, "Hey, Bill, pay attention to what's happening." And so I did. And I said, "Hey, man, this is pretty phenomenal." So praise God for that. And then for the Sports Fan 1000 program, there's commitments to 43 schools this fall. That's at least 10 more than last year, which is our best year ever. And so what that means is a lot of people are hearing the gospel of Jesus Christ. And I think if you look out in the country, certainly there's some winds blowing out there. You're seeing people starting to take stands for righteousness. They may not stand up and say Jesus Christ is Lord, but you're watching their lives. They're being put under pressure to stand up for what we might say is righteousness. And, you know, when you hear enough testimonies, most testimonies have a gradual part to them. And so I think the Lord's working. That's the bottom line. He's working here. And that's exciting to me. So I want to encourage you out there today to keep praying. Keep praying for the civil magistrate, 1 Timothy 2:1-7. We certainly have elections coming up. And you know, Scripture says, Psalms are pretty clear. When the leaders are wicked, the people groan. But when the leadership is righteous, you know, the people rejoice. And I don't think righteous is necessarily meaning that everybody in government is a mature Christian. I just believe, in a sense, in a practical sense, that means that people they're governing according to righteous standards. And when that is happening, even I think pagan people have a sense of rejoicing. There's something ironic here oftentimes in Scripture, and one irony is that all the pagan people, some of them might delight in their wickedness. I think a lot of people just sort of are not. They don't like that. A lot of unbelievers don't like that. I think people flourish better under a righteous environment. Believers are not, and so I think that's what that's alluding to. So keep praying for the Lord to raise up righteous leaders from coast to coast at all levels, so we can lead a quiet, peaceful life for the sake of the gospel and keep preaching. Which brings us to David Day today. We're going to talk about going to London this fall and about his, Lord willing, future in London. And so we can have another agent of righteousness in London, England. David, how you doing?
Hey, brother. Good afternoon.
Good to see
Doing
you.
good. You too.
You flying the flag back there? Have you got any other Union Jacks in the house, on the car? Any other London signs?
No, my son Jonathan though called me a traitor, and when I put that up, but yeah, but no, this is the only one. Got a couple of books from biography of Winston Churchill. That's kind of interesting, but no, that's about it. That's about it.
Have you seen his biography? Well, I think it's a famous one. It's called A Lion in Winter.
No, the last line is the book I have. I haven't seen a documentary or anything, but the last line is one the documentary I have, or the biography.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. Hang on one second. I'm going to take this down. You're not. I can hear you, but hang on a second. I think we're having a. You there? Let's see.
Yes, sir.
Hang on one second. You're still in this picture. All right, sit tight. I'm going to try to reload this for 1 second. Oh, listen, I'm going to take you off, and then you may have to click. If you don't see me, re-click the link.
Sure.
There you go. Technology, man. It's good when it works, but it doesn't work all the time like you want it to. So give David a second to come back on. second. All right, let's see if that works. See if we can get him back on here. There we go. I hear something. Let's see. All right, I can see you moving now. Okay, praise God. So your son said you were a traitor. Is that right? Flying the flag?
Yeah, I got to have the American flag over here, and and a big MAGA flag too. Had to take that one down. Let me not get political here. It's not a good place to be.
Stay calm. Well,
Stay
cool.
calm.
So, did you read any about Winston Churchill?
Just a little bit. I can't think of anything on the top of my head. I've read some things lately about him. Some people say he was a warmonger. But I do know there was things that he said when it came to Islam that is amazing. Something that really stood out was that certain things that he said about Islam that is illegal to say over in the UK today. It's considered hate speech. That's wild. But yeah,
Some of the guys I've read before, some theologians they would use the word Mohammedan. You ever seen that?
right. Yeah, that's the word that he uses. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, yeah, they would definitely refer to that. I think
Yeah.
back then, Turkey. I don't know when Turkey was dissolved, but Turkey, I guess World War I, Turkey was a Muslim nation, and Turkey had been an empire for a while. And I think that's where all that Muhammad Islamic talk came from. It wasn't like it is today per se, but that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I was watching my son and I were watching this documentary. This is really about life in general, but about World War I and II. And so Neville Chamberlain was the prime minister, right? You know that name?
Yes, I do.
So Neville Chamberlain was the prime minister when Hitler was coming to power. And it's just really interesting about people how Chamberlain, tried, you might say, basically he was slow to act and he tried to appease Hitler. He wouldn't really confront him. And so by the time Hitler got strong and started attacking other countries in Europe, it was too late. And so that situation led to Churchill coming on the scene. It's kind of the way it's portrayed.
Right.
Chamberlain stepped down and Churchill came and got elected. And so Churchill, doing what he does best, started attacking. And so ironically, just like a lot of times in life, we're a little too passive. And then you let things boil up. And then before long, you've got a full-fledged enemy on your hands. I think that's a really interesting lesson. It's interesting in the church because what's interesting is that one person can come into a congregation and really, if you don't take discipline about it, then that person can create havoc and ultimately
division, all sorts of things. Yeah.
Yes, the one coming into the majority is something you really have to be aggressive about. It's pretty fascinating how that works.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. One of our church is working with a church here locally, small little church. I think there's maybe 20 members, and they're all but one is over 65 years old. And my pastor, he was discussing some things about it, and he mentioned how the churches for a number of years have been shepherdless. They've had preachers that would come in and kind of fill the pulpit, but they haven't had a pastor. They haven't had a shepherd, and now the church is dying, even though they had a preacher in the pulpit. And I think that's kind of a reminder as well, like within the body of Christ and our own lives, dealing with things appropriately. You don't just need a pulpit, someone to fill the pulpit. You just don't need, you get a roof is leaking. You just don't need some Flex Seal. You need to deal with it. And we I guess we can kind of see things kind of like that. How deal with things appropriately, wise discernment. There's certain things the Lord has told us to do and what not to do, and follow his guidance.
Yeah, I think that's really leads to the Great Commission. Then we'll talk about London. Like when we're not engaged in the Great Commission, which is on one hand is both, I would say, just to keep it simple, not talking about a method, but knocking on a door and then going to a foreign country. If you're not engaged in that, then the darkness is going to, you're going to wake up one day and the darkness is on your doorstep. And, you know, you're going to have to deal with it in a different way than if you just gone on the offensive. You agree with me?
Yeah.
So it's pretty, if, you know, when we don't do what God, the Bible says, there's going to be an unintended consequence. So therefore, let's talk about you going to London in general. And
Yeah.
you want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. Looking forward to it.
All
Oh,
right. So how many
okay.
times have you been to London? Then we'll talk about you being there full time. How long have you been? How many times have you been to London?
I've been blessed to be 2 times. I've been there 2 times. The first year we went, and I think we were there for the Cricket World Cup. We get there, and that's a pretty cool story. I get there, my back hurts. I have shingles for the entire 2 weeks, which was it was really a blessing. Taught me how to deal with pain, and I mean, just being stuck 2 weeks with you, man. That was shingles and stuff. You know, rewards in heaven, right? But but being there for the Cricket World Cup, going to different places, you see tons of people. And I shared this with somebody recently, because you get on the news and you see what's going on over in the UK and different parts of, over there and things, and even over here a bit. But, we get over there, and I remember preaching outside the Oval to tons of Pakistani Muslims, and having conversations over in Bristol with them. They weren't violent. They were curious. They wanted to talk. They were even at the Marble Arch. We ran into Muslims. They wasn't violent. They wasn't harsh. We wasn't being disrespectful to them. We didn't go up and say something crazy about Muhammad, but they wanted to ask questions. This is what you believe. This is what we believe. Can we talk? My pastor has mentioned that the Muslims, when he's in Turkey, they love to talk more about their faith than we do as believers here in America. But I saw that while we were over there for the, preaching the Cricket World Cup, going to different places. And the second time was really the thing that really the Lord kind of impressed upon me. The simplicity of the gospel. You get over there, and you're not dealing with other believers, so to speak. You're dealing with pagans, Muslims. There's Jehovah's Witnesses, of course, but a lot of people that are just atheistic and don't believe in nothing. They're content. There's poverty over there. There's wealth over there. The big giant city. So many things, but as I've been praying and just pondering some of these things, that especially that last trip, what just got to me was how simple it is and how dependent. I realized that both of us, that how we really are on the Lord when it comes to witnessing, no matter our skill that we have, our analogies that we've learned, our mannerisms, whatever it may be. It's just really a simple message, and you have to really just trust the Lord to bring people from darkness to light. I saw that the last trip, just wonderful believers who don't have it easy over there, but who love the Lord. Amazing place. The last trip, I want to say, was really good. I hope when we get over there in October, I don't know what your plan is, but it was really a joy to have local believers, the local pastors and missionaries come and talk to us. Sitting down with Nigel, I was looking through one of his things earlier from the Proclamation Trust. Just to hear the believers that are there. We're kind of outside, looking in, but those guys are there, and to hear their viewpoint. And amazing place to witness.
What was the last year you were there? Was that 20?
I think it was 2022, I believe. Yeah, 2022. I believe that was the year. I didn't go last year, but yeah, 2022 for the NFL London.
When was the cricket?
Cricket was I think it was 2020, I believe. I think it was 2020. Yeah.
I never saw you smile on that trip.
You know what? Somebody said that I was thinking about that the other day, that uh, some guy, a friend of Bobby, a guy that lives over there, looked
Yeah.
at a picture. It's like, that guy never smiles.
Never
I
smiled.
don't know. I'm just, listen, I've been, 10 to 12 days walking Bill miles, so to speak. I'm tired. Um, I'm sore. We're at the last leg of the trip. I smile, I love to have fun, that, but I was just, I was just tired,
What
you
about love,
know.
joy, peace, joy? I mean, come on.
What's that?
What about joy? Love, joy, peace. Where's your joy?
Man, I was full of so much joy. I had such a good time when we got back to the Highbury Center, and I took my shoes off and took a nap. Went to KFC, got some fried chicken. It was finger licking good. But
That was
there
pitiful.
is joy. There is joy. I usually just, even in pictures, I got this droopy dog face, but I'm usually pretty happy. You know that, and I think anybody that knows me, I try to be pretty happy go lucky, have a great time. But in pictures, so to speak.
What was that stuff that you and Dorothy were trying to eat? What was that?
That was shoe polish called Marmite, and you seem to enjoy it. Doc Shank seemed to enjoy it, but it's kind of like Vegemite over here. But I bought some, and I gave it to my pastor. I gave some to Sean, and he never opened it. He set it on his desk, and one of our staff members at our church saw it, and Sean told him what it was, and came back. I bought it at Publix. You can go to Publix here in the States and get it in their international section, but he opened it up, put it on a cracker, and just kind of spat it out. It's real salty, left over. I remember from the beer making process, but it's nasty, man. No wonder, man. We left England. Their food is terrible.
Heath, how you doing?
Hey Heath, hey buddy.
David. I think you commented about what it's, how rough it was to be with that trip, but I won't go into that. So yeah, that was fun. We had a good time on the cricket stuff, going those other places. That was fun.
That was, being on the train, kind of having breaks a little bit, but kind of a rest. But just meeting new people, seeing things you've never seen before, the fellowship and just hanging out with one another. As I tell my buddy Bill Scott is coming to Nashville. He's never been to an SFOI event, and I was telling him, you're going to have such a good time there, and giving them the experience of Nashville, witnessing there, but you're going to love the fellowship of the brothers. That's one of the things in London. You're over there with a bunch of great guys and taking care of one another, and it's the fellowship is amazing.
So describe, if somebody's never been, from your perspective, like the fellowship, like how staying at the Highbury Center, riding on the train together, all that stuff, how it really, like, be as specific as possible, how it really works together to create a memorable part of the trip.
Oh man. The first time the first time when I got there, like any place that we may go, you're looking at everything and you're taking so much in. And then the second time, you've already seen that. That is kind of amazing. But I think just, when we're praying for one another, how you been doing, man? How's your family? Eating with one another. Can I hold your bag for you? I mean, that's one of the things I think that I've seen and experienced is that we're not over there complaining. We're not over there complaining about our feet. Really, our feet are sore. I remember I had to get these things to put on my feet, for blisters and stuff. You should sell those on your website, by the way. You can make some money. Anybody goes on my trip, get you these little blisters, little things for your feet. But we're serving one another. We're not complaining. We're smiling. We're laughing. We're cracking jokes on one another. Just this great fellowship, this camaraderie, and getting back later on and talking about the man. Did you see that person that I talked to? Or I had this person come up and they prayed for me. Or I know some of the believers over in Stratford. There's a believer. I think every year. What does he do? He comes over and he owns like a little food truck, and he wants to feed us. And he's a brother, and then other believers coming up. But just again, we're called to serve one another, and you really see that. Just how can I be a blessing to you when we get over there? When you may not be walking as fast, I remember when I had shingles and I was a little sore, and I'm kind of carrying the back of the line, so to speak. And me and Miss Dorothy, we're both back there, and we're just fellowshipping and just talking. I'm getting to know her. I just knew her from social media, and I think Bobby, hey brother, you need me to carry that for you? Just asking things about me. How's your wife? How's your son? How's your kids? And there's such it's I think it gives a great picture of what the church is like, of what it should be. It's not just gathering on Sunday morning or Wednesday. The whole week we're gathering, we're praying for one another. There's devotion time, a teaching time or whatnot, and just just serving and loving, suffering. At times I think again, some of us may get ill or get sick and things like that. Something happens, but we're not complaining. I really like that. I think that's one of the things we do, and we have each other's back. Um, it's amazing. It's kind of hard just to put it down in just a one little sentence, but it's I think it's one of the kindest things that the Lord gives us as the body. We're really we're a fellowship.
Good point. I think too, obviously the layout of the accommodations, everybody gets their own room. And so, and then there's room in there to pray together, and then you eat breakfast together, and then walk to the train together. And just the
Yeah,
nature
every day.
you really brings it all together. We're all sharing that experience. And, really the whole, the layout, Highbury Center really makes it work pretty well. And
Yeah,
then it's
yeah. The Highbury is amazing. Beautiful place. Really close to the tube stations and little areas where if you want to go get you something to eat. And the people there are really sweet, really amazing. I always love the when we come back, I got new cookies and things like that. They're really, I'm like, dear, I told my wife, like, dear, this is, maybe we need to start doing this. I come home, I got cookies next to my bed or something. That'd be nice. But that's just me being silly. But even those people there serving you, having breakfast with one another, having your own room is really nice, but there's been times on some of your trips where we're in a big gymnasium, or there's been times where I had to share a room with somebody else. There was one time I had to share a bed with somebody. I'm thankful he didn't want to cuddle, but some of the Episcopalians on your teams, I'm just joking. But that was a good brother. He passed away. I forgot his name. He was on our trip to Miami, but I really say that the closest we are, and everything, I think it really benefits us. Having our own room is really great, but I think sometimes it's kind of like going to boot camp for those guys in military.
Sure.
I was in Boy Scouts, and we you just really get to know your troop because you spend so much, you do everything together, and but it is nice to have your own room. I can say that. So.
So what's your favorite place to preach over there? Pick one out.
Man, it will probably be wow. Um, wow, Piccadilly Circus is really nice. Trafalgar Square's,
Hold
what's
that
that?
thought. Piccadilly Circus. So see, with your best illustrative skills, describe what it's like to preach over there at Piccadilly Circus.
You have this big fountain that's right in front of you, and you have street performers, around there, and people are sitting on the fountain, and you guys are roundabout, and it looks like Times Square in London. I mean, in New York, pretty much. I think it's the British form of Times Square, but big giant billboards, electronic LED billboards, but just tons of people, a lot of tourists, a lot of buses, double decker buses, but just tons of people. And they sit there, and if they want to leave, they can leave, but they listen. They're paying attention. It seems to be, and so that's kind of like Piccadilly Circus. So that's a good spot. But as Heath will say, this is one of the things. Like me and Heath, and that day we were with you, we mentioned this before in other calls and stuff, but when we got really small, it was just me, you, and Heath. And when we went to Woolwich, small little village, right there off the tube, a little marketplace there, farmer's market, so to speak.
Yeah.
It was small. It wasn't a whole lot of, ambient noise, so to speak. Like Piccadilly Circus is very loud and cars, but you didn't have to turn your amps up super loud. But tons of conversations, people recognizing us, knowing that we were, what we were saying. Um, that right there is, I hope. I was telling Tom Corral that when we go back in a couple, next month, I hope Woolwich is on the itinerary, because that's a just a small little town, and it's not very loud, but such a great little mission field.
It's a good point. The thing at Piccadilly Circus, of course, you have to see it, or Trafalgar Square, is you have several tube stops, just like pumping people in, like
Right.
water flowing in, like fish coming by, and it's just a constant flow of people. And
Absolutely.
it's pretty, and then it's an historical, like a tourist spot, and you see people from all over Europe coming by. You can't really tell per se unless you hear them talk. And so I'd say my favorite spots really around Trafalgar Square. The last couple of years that we were there, and I don't know if they were doing it when you were there, David, but they had rallies, political rallies in this big open area in front of I guess that's
Yeah.
a library of some sort.
Right in front of the British Museum.
British Museum, and there must have been 5 or 10,000 Iranians.
Right. I remember that. Yeah.
Remember that? Chanting. It was a real political rally, like some you'd see on the tube, and we were preaching kind of in the middle of it, and it was ironic. Well, one is that we were there around it, and I think we were there when it ended one time, and they all walked by us. But it wasn't like we weren't. It was like we weren't there politically. Like no one looked at us as if we were political beings.
Right.
And so the gospel was there in the middle of all those people. I thought that was pretty ironic contrast. No one wanted to fight us about Muhammad in that political rally. They were there for something else.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah, when we went for the first time, we were at Trafalgar Square. They had a big Muslim rally. The mayor of London was speaking, and I decided to go walk down, through everything, just kind of go check it out.
Yeah.
Nobody bothered me. I saw some Trump supporters outside the rally, and with their MAGA hats and things like that. But if you get on the news, you may be thinking, that it's on fire. I thought that would happen when we went the last time, but you get there, and maybe there's pockets, but the Lord has really opened up a great door. He protects us. He provides for us, and we didn't have any issues. There's certain parts that I remember Bobby saying, like certain areas of London, the cops are like, if you go in there and something happens, we're not coming for you. And we practiced some wisdom and discernment. But Bobby said they went into that area, the Whitechapel, and nothing happened.
Yeah.
Nothing happened.
Yeah.
I think the worst thing to ever happen, at least in front of me, y'all may have experienced it, was when Dorothy got pickpocketed and fell and got a black eye.
Exactly.
I think that's the worst thing I've seen, and that was it.
Yeah, Stratford is where you get the most interaction.
Yeah.
And remember that one table, that booth? They're always there. That they have a tent and they have a Muslim booth. They pass out stuff. Those dudes they're pretty assertive, but they're not overbearing per se. But so anyway, so it's different what you see on TV. You got to be careful when you watch social media. That's what happened in Paris this summer. Like, it was nothing. No, there was no problems on the ground whatsoever. Nobody. There's really no problems at all. So you got to be careful how you perceive it. So I think London is such a, given the numbers of people on the street, it is the best opportunity to reach a lot of people from a lot of different backgrounds. Period. I know New York is kind of like that, but something like New York is, I don't know, you've been to New York. I know you've been up there a couple times. New York is really more congested around Times Square, Madison Square Garden. But London it's a huge area, like 60 miles across.
Right.
And every tube stop has something unique about it versus this, New York City thing when it's all the people are really concentrated a couple areas. So it's pretty unusual. Anyway,
It is, yeah.
cool. What do you look forward to most of all about going?
You mean permanently, or just for this
Yeah,
trip coming up?
good. Yeah,
For the trip coming up,
yeah.
um, man, I miss it. I didn't go last year, but I miss it. Again, I miss you guys. I miss the fellowship. I hope to run into some other believers. I can't wait to get out there and just preach. And I've been praying again for our calling. The Lord just make things real clear. And I'm praying that when I get over there, He makes He makes it even more clear. And I love those people. I've been praying, and it's like the Lord's reminding me that those are my people. And just like over here where I live now, everyone, this is our mission field, and we want to be faithful here. The Lord takes us there for seasons or whatnot. I feel like they're my people, and I long to preach the gospel to them. I want people to come up and talk to me. I want to run into solid believers and be encouraged by them. I want to encourage other believers. I want to see people, Muslims, to question me, and get to tell them about what this is, the truth of God's word, and see the Lord do something. We know what He does, and I can't wait to get there and just get my feet there, next month, and just expect to see what the Lord does.
Cool. I'm gonna say, hey, he said you should move to Woolwich when you get over there. That's what he said.
Some of the properties that me and my wife have looked at, we've seen some spots over in Woolwich,
Yeah.
and it's like living over here in Montgomery. You know what I mean? I'm just kidding, just
Proud of
kidding.
him. That's
But
funny.
we've been praying, for these things, and Lord, You direct our steps. You put us where You will have us, and help us to be faithful, and
Good.
wherever. Um, Wherever we're at.
Cool.
I'm looking forward to seeing that's where the Lord would have me. Can't wait.
Well, before we talk about that for a second, I want to say hey to Frank Rolberg. Frank, good to see you on here.
Hey,
You guys
buddy.
on this weekend, and 2 weeks in, David will be with you in Huntsville at the South Star Festival. I think, Frank, there's a new guy, Patrick, coming up to join you. And so from Texas, from Houston. He says you're going to be preaching. Frank asked you to be preaching with other brothers when you get over there, going it alone.
I hope so. I hope to have a local church. There's already some brothers over there. Wesley Tennant, he goes to Grace Life London. He came out preaching with us the last time we were over in London. Good, solid brother. So I don't want to be alone. There's believers over there. So Lord willing, I'm sure the Lord will give us a receiving church, and that's okay with putting up with David Day. And but yeah, I'm hoping to be with other believers.
Well, tell us just in a couple minutes, we've got about 10 or so minutes, like what you believe you're called to go. What do you believe you're called? And we know what you're called to go do, but why London? Why England?
Why in London? I sort of hinted a few moments ago about it. And again, it's an amazing place to preach. There's so many people from all across the world, every tribe, tongues, and nation, it seems to be. And again, I'm reminded how simple the gospel is. And I sat on in my room all by myself when last time I was there, and called my wife. It's like, dear, we have to come back. And we didn't know how we would do it. We have no idea, which we've been doing full-time ministry as a vocation for over 10 years. And we just jumped out of the boat. And my wife was excited about it when I told her what we wanted to do, and the Lord's developing, that vision and mission. But I asked one of our missionaries. We have a missionary over in a certain country in Asia, and and it's not a safe area that he's at. There's been death threats to one of the pastors that he's been at, And I asked him about his call to missions, and he says he had a missionary come to his church one day, and he listened to him, and he just went, "Why not? We don't need a big marquee. You know, just why not? The God's word says, don't store your treasures up on earth. We're to have treasures that we store up in heaven, and there's things in this life that we do hold on to, and it's okay to have certain things, but everything that I have, this flag, and everything is going to rot one day, and live for that purpose. Lord, is this what you would have me do? Help me do it well. Help me to be faithful here, and teach me. And if it's your desire, Lord, to send me over there, and it's not very easy. It's not very safe sometimes, just looking things, but I just want to be faithful. If that's where you will have me, Lord, change my heart. He's definitely worked on my wife, my kids a little bit hesitant, which if you listen to different people speak, normally moving children, older children to another country, different cultures, usually very difficult. But you know, um, why not? Why not go? Even like going to London for 2 weeks. Why not? It's nothing wrong with going to an amusement park for your vacation, and while you're there, go witnessing. But why not put a little bit of side or whatnot? Why not go to an Auburn game or Tennessee game and share what you've seen and heard? I don't think we have to think about it too hard, to be honest with you. Just go.
Well, ironically, it's really when you look at how movements get started, we know some of these historical figures, but it's really one person going, not only one, but one person going, starting to work, and then things come from it. I mean, that's kind of the
Right.
way it works. Why not? It means just go do it, and that's the way God works. There's too
Yeah.
much. I'm not going because whatever. Typically, people's reasons are definitely more worldly than they are spiritual. But
Yeah, my pastor has said that there's two reasons people don't go on the mission fields. Typically, is debt and parents. And we're praise the Lord, we don't have any debt other than our mortgage. But we have had issues with my in-laws, understandably. Taking our kids and grandkids, their grandkids over there. Yeah, I totally understand. But I've just been praying that the Lord works in their heart. They come visit us. Stay a little bit, mother-in-law. But yeah, I think it's just very simple. Um, my pastor told me years ago, Bill, when you and we discussed, me going full time, and I discussed it with my pastor, and I got scared. I started thinking I can't do this. He's like, if the Lord calls you to do something and you don't do it, it's called sin. And I want to be obedient. My um, you've been supportive. A lot of friends have been supportive. Our church wants to. They want to be our sending church, which is great. So we have the backing of our local church here. So um, I'm ready to go. I'm looking forward to, Lord willing, sometime next year to see what the Lord has, what he's been doing, and what he will have us do.
we haven't really talked about this out loud, but what about just creating a missionary destination for people? David Day's
Like yeah, that's something in the very beginning. As I discussed these things with you and with my pastor, me and my wife, we just thought it'd be great just to go live there and go preaching and do ministry there. And then he kind of pressed on our heart. We love to be hospitable. We've had a number of people that stayed in our homes and missionaries, and we've had such a great time. My just a wonderful time doing that. But Lord willing, the Lord had given us the opportunity over in London to have some people when you guys come over there and stay with us. It may not be as sweet as the Highbury Center, but it's a place people can come stay um, and stay, and go witnessing. And it's encouraging to me. I hope it would be an encouragement to you. I won't wash your feet, but that's one of our hope, having like a little missions house or whatnot, where people can come and stay and go witnessing. And like, we've discussed this. You can, in London, you can take the train and you can go to Scotland for the day, and go preaching. So I'm looking forward to, Lord willing, I pray that's the Lord's plan.
So in all you're looking at David Day's Inn, that would be it.
Yeah. Well, I thought about Morning View Mission House. I kind of like that Morning View Missions House. Our Catherine's house. My daughter Catherine's, she's a missionary already over here, and she witnesses and she shares the gospel with people. She speaks up, and when people have stayed in her house, her and my wife have done such a good job. And Catherine loves to bake. My buddy stayed over here for a week with our house, and she baked cookies and she baked muffins, and she was just really sweet. She's just she's a little missionary. She's sweet, but yeah.
If you have David Day's Inn, you're gonna have cookies by the bed.
That's right, man. Cookies by the bed with some Marmite, some raccoon nuggets.
Raccoon, that's what I was going to say. That the annual meal for the week for the missionary for visitors is a raccoon.
That's it, man. That's it. Everybody knows it, David. You got to have some raccoon, buddy. But yeah,
I told my dentist this week you ate raccoon. They were kind of appalled at it. But,
well, it's just because they've never had it. I mean, the first time you see a pig don't really look like, let's eat that. But once you eat a pig, you're like, that's amazing.
That's nasty. And seriously, in all your searching, have you found a location, a general locale that keeps surfacing?
Yeah, we thought about Buckingham Palace, but my budget ain't that good. But do what?
I put up a tent in the back, Charles. The king might have some extra room now. I don't know, but we could.
I did see there's a little park across from Buckingham Palace. They got some tents over there, some migrants from Romania. So got to start somewhere. You got to start small and think big. But one of the things is that we know is to have a place that's close to a tube stop, just like the Highbury Center. You can walk straight to the tube. You got two different trains that you can take. Well, I can't remember the other one that we go to. I forgot the name. Canterbury, and then you got the Highbury. So that's ideal. That's been some of the things that we've looked at of properties that are, how far is it? Can you walk to the tube? And, from the immigration attorney that we discussed with, one of the things is the closer that you live within the city of London, the more expensive it is. And, I don't got Creflo Dollar on my speed dial, but, so, there's small little villages that are within London that are a little bit out. And Lord willing, the Lord will open. What's that?
Give me some names of places when you're.
Well, I looked at Sidcup, which is in East London areas. Enfield, which we were in Enfield. We went to Enfield Community Church. We went there and spoke to those guys. Those guys came over here. The two pastors, they came over here and they were on the radio with Rick and Bubba and talking about missions over in the UK. I'm like, this is awesome. But Enfield, someplace that's close to the tube. Woolwich is nice, but I'm thinking about how how quick it will be to get to the center of London. Trafalgar Square has been kind of one of our point A to point B points. But
up there by the stadium or up over Wembley, did you ever look over there?
I did. I looked at Wembley, saw some spots over there. The cost of living is a little bit better. My heart, to be honest with you, I've been praying just Sidcup, the Highbury area would be great. I think it's because we already know what Highbury is like. We know that area, and we're familiar with it. Other places I don't really know too much about, but so I can't remember. I've seen some other place. There was one place we looked at where actually what's his name? Oh man, I don't forgot his name. Winston Churchill, where he was an MP at. I can't remember the name of it, but it's a little area where they actually have the majority of people that live in that little village. They actually commute into London. So,
really?
So yeah, but we're praying for the Lord to give us a place that's nice and square. You know,
Did you ever see
where
Guilford come up on the map?
what's that?
Guilford, did you ever see Guilford come up on the map?
I don't think that I have. I don't think I have.
I wonder, like, if like we stayed there when we went over for the Olympics 10 or so years ago, but there was a train station right at Guilford. We would ride the train in and it'd come in there at the Victoria Station. And
Right.
I mean, we could figure this out. I'm just wondering maybe if you stayed somewhere out there and then the
Hold on
cost
a
of
second. Hold on just a second. Hold on. Give me a hug, dear. I love you. I love you. You're good. Sorry about that. My wife was leaving, so I had to go get some sugar.
We'll probably hear this loud Yahoo, for about an hour or so. She's out of the house. But I wonder if you stay down there, and like seriously, the cost of riding the train to the tube was, the little extra expense might be worth it instead of staying right in the tube area. Anyway, we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
That's a good spot. Guilford's close by, 30 minutes on the train. Anyway, did I ever tell you about Doc and the soldier there at the Buckingham Palace, St. James Palace?
The guy with the big gun?
Did I ever tell you that story?
I can't remember. You maybe have, but share it again.
Yeah, it was Ken and Doc and me went over one year together, and we're walking down. St. James is where then Charles III, that was his castle, or whatever palace, and it's over by Buckingham, by the Green Park.
Yeah.
And so there's this dude, man, he could have shot down a fleet of stealth bombers. Just one dude, all these guns. And so, of course, Doc wanted to go and talk to him. He said, yeah, just don't touch me. What do you think Doc did? He put his arm around the guy, told him his story, his typical, testimony.
Yeah, it was. I'm sure it was a long story short. I love Doc, man. He was so much fun in London, and he's such a cool brother, man. The team that we have right now going out for in October, there's some of those guys. I don't think some of them I've never met, and some of them it's only maybe at the Super Bowl. Hey brother, how you doing? But it's gonna be nice just to be, like I said, I didn't know Doc, I didn't know Gene, and it was really nice to. Again, I'm looking forward to meeting new brothers, and I'm looking forward to that.
It was a good time over there. All right, man. Anything else to share? We got one more spot left. Last thing, if you're going to invite somebody to go, what would you tell them the reason? The number one reason to go is just one reason.
Go preach the gospel. That's it.
There you go, man.
That's it. Go preach the gospel. We can watch Tom Cabral go to jail. I told Tom that I would say that, but yeah, but it's a great place to preach, and that's it. That's it. If you watch and you haven't signed up yet, I think there was a brother last year. I think it was Timothy. He went, and it was kind of I think last minute or something. I was like, man, you need to call Bill. You need to go, and he was able to go, and I hope he had an amazing time. But yeah, I can't wait, Bill. It's gonna be nice.
All right, man. Well, listen, David. Look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. Y'all have a good time in Huntsville. Bill Scott, tell us about Bill. And are you not going to Nashville next weekend?
No, that's because my wife is she's out of town. But Bill's a wonderful brother. He's I think he's close to 70, close to your age, and but he's a real good brother, man. And he preaches a bit, loves to talk to people. He they will enjoy Bill. He's one of our greeters at church, and just a good brother. I've been witnessing with him for a long time. He goes out with me like once a week to go preaching now, and they're gonna have good fellowship with Bill. They're gonna love him.
Sounds good. He got a Bible, so he must be making a commitment.
He did. He bought him a waterproof Bible. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, man. David, have a good day.
You too, brother. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate you guys.
Good chat with you.
Yes, sir.
What a treat, great opportunity to go to London. 300 languages spoken in London. Historically speaking, it was the center of the world for several hundred years and so many people there. So it's a lot different than being here. One thing we didn't talk about, but you go overseas, even to Paris, when you can't really speak the language, all the political stuff that's floating around the air in the United States, you don't know it really unless you're really tracking with it. So it's really a free zone to be with. In this case, I think there'll be 13 of guys in London. Bobby Adam bringing some their part of their family with them as well, and so it's just going to be a fun time. Focus on gospel preaching ministry. So let me know if you want to go. 423-724-7500. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.